Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss the fascinating story of the 1967 United States quarter dollar, also widely known as the Liberty Quarter, a coin that not only carries a face value of just 25 cents but also represents a key chapter in U.S. coinage history, especially because of the era in which it was minted, the transition from silver to clad composition, and the cultural, historical, and economic factors that shaped its design, its production, and ultimately its place in the numismatic market today. To begin, let's take a journey back to the mid-1960s, when the United States Mint faced one of its most critical decisions regarding coinage materials. For decades leading up to 1964, quarters were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, making them not only functional pieces of money but also small stores of intrinsic value. However, by 1965, the rising cost of silver and the increasing demand for coinage due to population growth and economic expansion meant that the mint had to find a practical alternative. Thus came the introduction of clad coins, beginning in 1965, where the silver composition was replaced by a copper-nickel clad structure that consisted of an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, which gave the coins their characteristic silver-like shine but without the actual precious metal content. Now, this transition was not just about saving money for the government, it was also about addressing a serious coin shortage across the nation, as silver coins were being hoarded by both collectors and everyday people who realized that the value of the silver exceeded the face value of the coins themselves. So in 1965, Congress authorized the production of clad quarters and suspended mint marks for several years, from 1965 through 1967, to discourage hoarding of coins from specific mints, meaning that every 1967 quarter, whether produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, was struck without a mint mark, adding a unique uniformity to these coins. In terms of design, the 1967 Liberty Quarter carried forward the well-known Washington quarter design, which had been in use since 1932, created by sculptor John Flanagan, featuring the bust of George Washington, the first president of the United States, on the obverse, facing left, with the word Liberty inscribed above his head, the national motto, In God We Trust, to his left, and the date, 1967, centered below his neck, while the reverse of the coin features the heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing America's readiness to defend its freedom, with two olive branches beneath representing peace, and surrounding inscriptions include United States of America and quarter dollar. This design, while traditional, was deeply symbolic and continued to resonate with Americans during a decade marked by social change, war, and civil rights movements, making the coin a reminder of both stability and national identity during uncertain times. When it comes to the physical characteristics of the 1967 quarter, it weighs 5.67 grams, has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters, and features a reeded edge, consistent with quarters both before and after it, though its clad composition makes it less heavy and less intrinsically valuable than its silver predecessors. Now, let's explore the rarity aspect, because collectors often ask, is the 1967 quarter rare? In truth, the U.S. Mint produced an astonishingly high number of these coins, over 1.5 billion quarters in 1967 alone, making them widely circulated and generally common, which means that for the average circulated coin in worn condition, the value remains close to face value, just 25 cents. However, the rarity comes into play when we consider condition, errors, and varieties, because while billions were struck, finding a 1967 quarter in pristine mint state or high-grade condition, particularly those graded MS67 or above by PCGS or NGC, is exceedingly difficult, and such coins command significant premiums at auction. For example, an ordinary circulated 1967 quarter may only be worth its face value, but a gem-quality MS67 quarter has been known to sell for several $100s at auction, and in one record case, an exceptional MS68 quarter sold for over $8,000, demonstrating that condition truly determines value for this issue. Another factor that draws collector interest is the world of minting errors. 1967 quarters exist with off-center strikes, double dies, clipped planchets, and other striking anomalies, and these error coins can range from $50 to several $1,000s depending on the severity and visual appeal of the mistake, making them sought-after treasures in the numismatic marketplace. Additionally, there exists the Special Mint Set, SMS, version of the 1967 quarter, as the Mint produced these sets between 1965 and 1967 in lieu of traditional proof sets. The SMS quarters were specially struck with sharper details and smoother surfaces, sometimes with cameo contrast, and collectors prize high-grade SMS quarters with deep cameo designation, which can reach values in the hundreds of dollars or more. Considering demand, the 1967 quarter is not rare in sheer numbers but becomes rare when condition, errors, or special strikes are factored in, meaning collectors looking for value should pay close attention to coins with high grade surfaces, unique minting mistakes, or SMS features. In terms of market value today, most circulated 1967 quarters are worth only their face value, about 25 cents, but high-grade examples certified by top grading services can bring in anywhere from $200 to $1,000 depending on quality, while the rarest examples in MS68 condition have touched auction records upwards of $8,000, and unique minting errors can push values into the thousands as well. So what does this mean for collectors? If you come across a 1967 quarter in your change, it's worth setting aside, especially if it appears unusually well preserved, shows strong detail, or looks unusual, as these traits could indicate higher value. For those actively collecting, the best tips include investing in certified high-grade examples for long-term appreciation, seeking out SMS quarters with cameo or deep cameo finishes, and keeping an eye on error coins which continue to attract strong demand. Proper storage is also critical. Keep high-grade or potentially valuable quarters in protective holders to avoid scratches and tarnish, and always consider third-party grading if you believe you own a rare example. To conclude, the 1967 US $quarter Liberty coin, though common in circulation, represents an important transition in American coinage, from silver to clad, and embodies both the economic realities of the time and the enduring national symbols of liberty, strength, and unity. And while the majority of these coins may only be worth their face value, the select few that survive in pristine condition, carry unique minting errors, or exist in SMS deep cameo versions can command significant premiums on the collector market, sometimes reaching into the thousands of dollars, making this coin a perfect reminder that even the most ordinary-looking pieces of change can hold extraordinary stories and surprising value. So whether you are a new collector just starting your journey or a seasoned numismatist, keep your eyes open for the 1967 quarter, because in the right condition. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel,